Thanks for staying with us. On this segment, we'll be looking at President Bola Tinubu's democracy speech this morning. We'll be reviewing and analyzing the major highlights of the speech. You can join the conversation on 08127053687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We know lots of people are discussing the speech this morning. Most TV shows are having the same conversations, but we'd like to hear from Nigerians. What are your thoughts? Many of the highlights have been put out on social media. Do you think, what are your thoughts on the speech? Do you think it was inspiring? Do you think it was much needed at this time where we're still battling with the issue of fuel subsidy removal? What are your thoughts on his speech? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, and they would like to hear. I know that I've said this before on this show because I've heard the president say it several times that that his famous last liner, that if you cannot endure the pains of defeat, you cannot enjoy the success of the joy of victory. And this is something that those around him have always said and reiterated quite a number of times. But he said it again in this speech this morning, and it was just alluding to the fact that the beauty of democracy is what we're experiencing in the courts, that when there are aggrieved parties, we must use democracy and we must continue to deepen our democracy in different ways and to ensure that we don't lose this much cherished system of government that has actually benefited all of us. So let me come to the ladies. I know, what are your thoughts? I know there's a part of the speech that I thought was pretty crucial for me. There's a part of it that I really thought was really important, where he said that, where the president specifically said that we shall be faithful to truth, faithful to equity, and faithful to justice. He said that we shall exercise our authority and mandate to govern with fairness, respect for the rule of law, and commitment to always uphold the dignity of our people. I thought that was powerful, and I thought that's something that we needed to hear at this time. What are your own thoughts on the speech, and how do you think that it played out this morning?
I mean, for me, I read part of the speech, during the paper review. There are different parts of the speech that resonated with me. But, even though it was about Democracy Day, he took the time to talk about the fuel subsidy. And he goes to say that he understands that this is a sacrifice that we have made and the burden will be quite high. But then he was assuring us that he would repay us through massive investments in transportation, infrastructure, education, regular power supply, healthcare, and other public utilities that improve the quality of lives. So I appreciate that because, we're talking about democracy, and he spoke extensively about the 1993 elections and how, how that was, sabotaged and where we are today, but also took the time to talk about the most pressing issues of today. And it is the fuel subsidy removal, and Nigerians are thinking, how are we going to go? Where are we going from here? How is it going to move on from here? And so the opportunity to speak more about it, he took the opportunity to speak more about it. And it gives me hope that, he understands that we need massive investments in healthcare, in power supply. He mentioned all the things that we constantly talk about. And I know that it may, to a lot of people, they will say, maybe this is just talk, wait until he does it. But for me, I believe that it starts from talking. It starts from recognizing what the issues are. It starts from, the questions we asked from the very beginning is like, why did he say anything if he had not given us a way that we're going to get out of it? He shouldn't have said anything until he had given us, he had broken down the process in which he was going to go about the subsidy removal. And now he's also telling us where his investments will be. And he's saying, and he's assuring us. I like that, and I feel that it will give a lot of Nigerians some hope and something to look forward to down the line.
Yeah, so I liked the facts about the rule of law. He talks about it. He said his administration will not condone conflicting and illegal orders that undermine Nigeria's democracy. He also talked about the bill he signed June 8th for the harmonization of the retirement age for judicial officers, as one of many policy reforms that will come. We've had issues with people at the helms of affairs not paying attention or not obeying the rule of law. And now this is a president who is saying that the rule of law must be held, must be sacrosanct to the Nigerian people. That also means that if anything touches anybody who is at the helm of affair, who is in position of authority, the rule of law must prevail. So it's hope for democracy, so to speak, that everybody is under the law, nobody is above the law.
Right.
And I want to see how the president goes ahead in pushing all of that through his policies. He's insisting on implementation of those policies. We have good policies in the country. Nobody would deny that. But the problem we usually have is the implementation of those policies. So I want to see how the president will insist and make sure that everybody implements what has been signed in as law.
What are your thoughts about the speech generally?
So, June 12, 2023 is exactly 30 years from June 12, 1993. You know, so this is 30 years after.
Quite symbolic.
And yeah, very symbolic. And many lives have been lost in the struggle for our democracy. And for many people, they don't see it like Nigeria is achieving anything substantial with democracy because we're looking at it from our personal economic standpoint. But it would serve us to use this moment to reflect on where we're coming from so that we can acknowledge, and that's what he did with his speech. Okay, he spoke about the fact that in the struggle between 1993 to 1999, we lost the chief MKO Abiola, we lost Goodluck Abiola, Alfred Durani, and a lot of other people that don't have big names, but played an important role in that journey towards democracy. And, you know, their sacrifices. This is why we're doing today. And we should remember that when we feel disgruntled about the election process, or we feel disgruntled about someone in political position, we should be grateful that we have a system that helps us take them out. And we shouldn't, in our anger, destroy the system itself. Bad as a bad in our local language. We have a democracy today. And it's just interesting to read the speech and you know, for knowing history and knowing the part that our current president played during that time and his involvement in the post-election struggle. I'm sure there will be a sense of, maybe not joy, but a sense of like, you know, it's come a full circle that he's getting to serve in this capacity, even though he was part of the struggle back then.
You know, I like to see, as someone was telling me that Nigerians, it doesn't take so much to impress us, you know, choosing the right words, saying the right things, how you say it. He was saying that my compatriots, you know, talking about, I understand what you're feeling with this subsidy removal. You know, he was saying that we understand it, but please go through this pain a little longer, just a little longer, because afterwards, I'm going to ensure that the proceeds of this will be properly invested. When you hear that kind of thing, you're thinking, okay, how long is a little longer? You know, you begin to engage us, but when you just remove things and people just move on like we don't care, they don't care about us, that's when Nigerians get upset. But when we have a president that's engaging us, it was quite interesting to hear him speak. But more importantly, what I thought was really interesting and powerful was the fact that the renewed hope seemed to be quite symbolic after MK Abiola's Hope 93. You know, it was clearly making a connection that, listen, yes, Hope 93 didn't happen, but I have come as a renewed hope. And 30 years after, and it's just so perfect. So, I mean, it's just amazing how everything just worked out, and it's looking like, hopefully, this president may or hopefully will be able to do for us what MKO Abiola would have loved to do for the country at that time.
Let me take this quote he mentioned. He said, for a people can never truly appreciate the freedoms and right democracy guarantees until they lose it. Which is why I kept saying, let's not use our hands or, in this case, our typing and our mouth to create a volatile environment that would truncate our democracy that we have. He said, this is the point, we must never take democracy for granted. We must forever guard this democracy jealously and protect it like a precious jewel. So democracy day, many of you at home say, hey, what is democracy? The election was clinical election. Please, once again, let's remind ourselves, for those that were alive in 1993, of what Nigeria was like under democracy. And the fact that you can talk like this is because there's democracy.
Yes, so my father-in-law will always say, if you see war, it's not these people are jumping up and down. I witnessed the war. I know what it is for a country to be disorganized. I know what it is for you not to be able to speak, for you not to be able to leave your house, for you not to be able to do your business, for you to lose your investments.
Yeah.
So peace is all we want. And the fact that we have a president who is speaking, who seems to have emotional intelligence, who seems to be able to connect to the people, I want to believe that this is not just, it's not on such days that we only hear him. We want to hear more of him. He needs to come out and tell us, this is what I'm doing, my people, be a little bit more patient with us. That is what I'm doing. These are the policies. You know, let us, aside from the fact that he's doing the work, let us also hear him speak to us. And
you know, someone was saying that I was talking about you've not experienced war. I have experienced my father being arrested for speaking.
wow.
Speaking, he want me carrying food to him to Kirikiri prison because he spoke against Babangida. This same Babangida that is talking, this same Babangida that is saying that we should deepen democracy. You know, these are the same people that he has repented. Okay, these are the same people that that did not allow freedom of expression and speech at the time. And so it was a different time, and young people today don't really understand what that experience was like. And today, many of us have an idea of what happened. We are grateful that we have this sanity and this peace in our nation today.
I remember, I think I had just joined the show. I think it was the year I joined the show when, the conversations about making June 12 Democracy Day.
Yeah.
And I think one of the children came on the show. Yes. And for me, I remember that time, I really felt proud of us, like we're doing something right. We would be able to, our children will be able to, celebrate Democracy Day, understanding the history behind it. And I feel that this president has also given it some sort of weight because of the part that he played in, in the 1993 elections and all that happened. But it also brings to mind that we have in our schools, there was a time in our schools where our children didn't know history. And today, when you have conversations with a lot of people, it's not just children, even adults, we forget so easily. People will say to you, one thing with the Nigerian people is that they will forget easily. So it's important that we make these conversations. These are important conversations that we should have every day. We understand it. When we understand her history, it's easier for us to understand where we are today. Yeah. And it's easier for us to understand who we need to extol for, for the things that they have done, what it is that they have done, the sacrifices that they have made. There are some names we call around and throw around anyhow because we don't know the sacrifices these people have made. We don't know the fight that they have fought. We make them seem like these people are just names. Yeah. But if you understand the history, then you're able to respect it. And also for yourself, you understand the part you want to play because we're reading about them today and what they did 30 years ago. In 30 years' time, what role would you have played, in your own country's democracy?
Okay, let me take Oluwaseun's call, then we'll wrap up on this. Good morning, Oluwaseun, you're live. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Seun.
Yeah. Happy Democracy Day.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I remember I was in SS2, SS1, SS2, 30 years ago. And I experienced the military era, and I really appreciate this time that, you see, there's something new about this, regime, this Tinubu's regime, that our president can come out quickly to, talk to us, to tackle issues. For those of us that experience, the Abacha stove, the military era, the era of where there's no freedom, we are appreciating this time. And then I want Nigerians to appreciate this time, especially the young ones. They should go back to history and, talk to, the like of Moriah to explain, what those times were, where you will receive slap from a soldier, if you misbehave. So, I'm so happy that, we are celebrating, this time. And then we need to understand that democracy is not magical. It's progressive. We all want that we want.
It's progressive. It's not magical.
All right, that's all we can take on this segment.